Oh, I guess we're all here. Should we get started?
Yes, I'm happy to get started if you'd like to go. Yeah.
Yeah, might as well.
Works for me.
And then he disappears.
I had tractors outside, so they were making a bunch of noise.
Tractors?
Yeah, they're repaving the road out there. So.
Oh yeah, the potholes.
Yep, still working on them.
Mm.
Right, we'll be live in about 5. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Dumb SEO Questions, episode 214. Each week we meet here to answer the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google+, on our Facebook page, Dumb SEO Questions, and also via Twitter on Dumb SEO QS. With us tonight, we have Masataki Wasa. Masataki is webmaster of Wasa Web in the UK. Masataki is also a Google top contributor on the AdSense community. Located in the USA on the West Coast, Micah Fisher-Kirshner is a senior SEO manager for Zendesk in the USA. And he's also a regular on the SEO public speaking circuit. Tim Capper is a Google top contributor in the Google My Business community. He's also he's also CEO of onlineownership.com. He's a conversion rate optimization specialist and proud to call himself an SEO. Also proud to call himself an SEO in Kansas in the USA, William Rock. You can find William Rock at williamrock.com. He's also a Google top contributor on the Google web search community. You can find Tim at onlineownership.com. Micah is zendesk.com and Masataki wasaweb.net. wasaweb.net. All right, our first question tonight is regarding removing my WP website from Google. Let me just click the right button. Vegan Protein Powder says, hi guys, I'm trying to move my WordPress website from Google and it's not as easy as you might think. I don't want to remove my site from Bing, Yahoo and other search engines. So checking discourage search engines from indexing this site in the WP dashboard is not an option. I added in the 10 days ago and all my posts are still indexed. I don't follow that. Anyway, he says, now I want to add user agent Googlebot. Okay. Disallow. That should work. Yeah, that will stop Googlebot from crawling. He said, I'm not sure if that will only stop Google to crawl my site in the future, but all posts will still be indexed. Maybe I have first to ask Google to de-index my pages through the Search Console, and then to make the change to the robots text file. If you have any idea on how to stop Google only to index my content on a WordPress site, please let me know. Thanks.
So you can put it to not crawl. You can tell Google to take your site out of the index, but that's only temporary, last I checked. I'm trying to think if there's a search engine specific no index tag. The thing is as long as nobody is linking to your pages, then telling Google in Search Console to remove it from the index, put in a robots.txt tag that's specific only the Googlebot will keep it out. However, if anybody does happen to link to the page and Google does come across it and crawls it, then it'll have one of those short snippets that basically says we can't provide a meta description or anything about the page because the site's blocked by our robots.txt. I don't know if anybody else knows if we can do a search engine specific no index tag. I don't think so.
Just curious why it starts out with it wants to try to remove WordPress website from Google, right? And then he was wanting to actually. That's where it got me a little confused because I actually added something in the links comment where Google has the piece where you can go remove URLs from Search Console, and that's normally takes sometimes it's not a permanent issue but or a resolution, but it's also sometimes can take up to 90 days to remove those URLs too.
Yeah, and it's only temporary though.
It's only temporary, right?
Yeah.
No follow. I mean, maybe even putting a no follow, no index on the page that he doesn't want found. I mean, that's pretty typical.
Yeah, but then it knocks out Bing, Yahoo, and other engines.
True. Well, that's where it got me a little confused in the beginning, where he said he wants the site out of Google, but
yeah, yeah, I don't know why. I can't really. I mean, he could try. I mean, there was a talk about. I mean, he could try to test putting the no index the site in a robots.txt file. I don't think Google really honors it, but at least it's something he could test.
In the chat there, Micah Mazataki has added something there.
Let's see.
Yeah, he's basically saying meta name, Googlebot, content, no index.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, but if there's a link to that entity, then that still is an issue, isn't it? That you've identified. So.
Why? Wait, what? No, if it's a no index tag, then that should knock it out fully.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So Masa found in the no index tag, if you change the meta name from robots to Googlebot, then you can specify which specifically Googlebot to be the one that gets no indexed. So that you should be able to do that for all your pages. Yeah, good find, Masa.
Now, my question would be, how could that be applied to a WordPress site?
Probably you need some type of custom plugin so that you can do it across the board. I don't think any of the standard ones allow it, so you're gonna need something that can insert into the meta, that has a custom ability that insert into the meta of every page.
Yes. So vegan protein powders. That would be the method. Meta name Googlebot content no index. But you'll need to find a plugin to apply that to each page. All right, let's tweak that and we'll move on to the next. I've already done it, damn it. Here's one from our good friend Giselle de Leon from the Philippines. It's an interesting question. Giselle said, "Hi, I have a question. What are the benefits of having a website in visitor's perspective and owner's business perspective? Note, all answers will be included on my article. Thank you, folks."
Sounds like trying to crowdsource some of the answers to create a blog post.
Well, there's a lot of answers that can be given to help resolve that question or questions. That could take all morning.
Yeah.
I get it.
I mean, it's highly generic and just like, yeah.
I think,
What's the benefit of having a website?
Let's start out with the first question. What's the benefit of having a website? Well, it depends on your purpose, right? So are you selling something? Are you trying to educate somebody? Are you trying to collect donations? What would be the focus and the purpose of that website to start out with? What do you think, Micah?
Yeah, I mean, if your market is a lot of people are searching online and they're looking for it, then they're looking to buy online. And even if they're not, they might need to find information about how to get to your business, and you may not, or how to call your business. How are they going to find information about your business if they don't know what you do, or they don't know that if they've forgotten the name of your brand, they need to then do a generic search. Or they might have forgotten your address, and if they don't have your phone number, they need a way to get to you. So there's just, even if you're mostly offline, you need a way to kind of have them reach out to you, and whether it's having something like Yelp, which you can only provide so much information, having a full-fledged website generally is seen to be fairly beneficial. So you're not relying on others to kind of help funnel customers over to you solely. It spreads the area of which you can give the information out across the web, rather than just relying on a few select providers. And it's a massive industry. So in general, kind of a lot of businesses, just about any business these days, is going to have a website. At least any major company is going to have a website.
Correct. Yeah.
So
I think that totally answers her or the question's visitor perspective. And then now basically the owner's business perspective, I would say, that you already kind of touched upon that as well. But, what kind of site are you going to have? What's the information that you're going to have? Try to understand, going back to the visitor's perspective, what that visitor is looking for, and how you as a company provide that answer or resource. And then goes back to the tracking and everything else. So if you're, everything's working for you, then that's great. But if your analytics are saying you're not getting any traffic, and they're bouncing, and they're leaving, you might want to go back to your content and make some changes, just like you would normally do in a sales cycle. And when you're in front of the client and actually pitching something, your product or service to them, how does that relate, that message, that same consistency and message on your website?
Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking, of course, from the visitor's perspective, this would only apply to somebody who didn't sell online, because if they sold online, of course, by definition, they've got to have a website. Anyway, Giselle, I hope the guys have given you the answers that you want, and good to hear from you again. Let's move on to the next. Mike Cook asks for a tool to visualize a website structure. He said, I have a question. What is the best tool to visualize a website structure for a very large site, 100K plus pages? I need to see the link relationships and the 100-mile view of the site. Any suggestions?
I'm trying to remember one of the tools I've used to help to kind of visualize a website, but while I'm stuck on that one, sometimes the best way is to just draw it out yourself. I mean, well, yeah, you might have a large website of 100 plus K. You've got a template, so all you have to do is go to individual pages, figure out kind of how many links are going to each type of from each page, and you can build a very quick high level overview of how the website looks, and then you can kind of draw that out without having to kind of crawl through 100,000 plus pages and then wait for the tool to visualize and then tweak it because it's done some weird stuff. But if you do it in the manual way, you got to be pretty diligent about all the links. I just wish I remember what the tool's name was.
Does Screaming Frog do that? I mean, I haven't used Screaming Frog for a while, but
I don't think so. I don't remember them visualizing it.
Yeah, it doesn't give you like the mind map hierarchy. Kind of just gives you the breakdown of everything that's in there and
right
on page H1
yeah,
and all
but
that.
the mind map, yeah, it's you. When I'm thinking of it's like almost like building a neural network map. I've seen them before. It's just I wish I remember the name of the tool. I always get it confused with Giphy. So.
Now, I did just come across one because I've been trying to look at the same thing for some of the projects I work on. And this is the one I had to go back into my bookmarks, but Power Mapper is something I've been looking at. Here, I'll drop that in the chat over here so you can take a look at it too. But this does give kind of a hierarchy, just like you would see a mind map or even your tree structure. I don't know how expensive it was. I haven't looked lately, but basically creates a sitemap and then kind of puts together your chart. Kind of like you always put together your sitemap and draw out your boxes and all that stuff. Hierarchy.
Yeah, but that looks more just like a general sitemap hierarchy versus what is it? I wouldn't really call it I wouldn't really say that's a visualization. I mean,
Gotcha.
That's just saying here's the site architecture. Here's how like the nav works. Here's it doesn't say like each page links to all of these pages and then this page links to all of these and then how it all falls.
True.
Around. I think that's what's being referenced.
It'd be cool if you could take like Screaming Frog and this together, and you'd have one.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I just really wish I knew.
I'll add this one to.
Found it. Glyphy. That's what it is.
Glyphy?
Got it. Glyphy, yes.
Spell that. Oh, Giphy.
Okay. Was one of the ones that you were thinking of, Micah, would that be the Microsoft search engine optimization toolkit? No? Okay. Anyway, that's something that can be installed on any laptop. I think it's a wonderful thing. It's an excellent crawler. It'll crawl all over your site, analyze it on the fly, and present you with a very nice report at the end that you can really dig down deep into.
What was that, Jim? What was the link to that? Or the product?
I can give you a link. Here we go. Let me see. Actually, could you add this link to the
Yeah, I'll add it to
the site?
Yes.
Let me see if I can find it.
Okay, I found it. Gephi.org. That's the program. That's what you can use to visualize your site hierarchy in a kind of neural map way. It's really good for kind of showcasing things that stand out. Actually, I think Ian Leary over at Cordant had a visualization, showed some of the visualizations of how he's used that as well.
That's a pretty cool tool.
Yeah, can be slow if you've got a ton of pages, but
yeah,
it's pretty good. It's pretty good for running that, and it's works well for kind of some of that. I've always kind of been back and forth. It's good for catching issues, but if like odd stuff, that's way out of strangeness. But if you want to just quickly visualize how the site looks by all the amount of links, then sometimes just manually drawing it is still faster, because this tool might take quite a while. Smaller sites, it's pretty fast. But if you've got a lot of pages, it's going to take a while. So.
I'm excited to actually download this after we get done here. That's going to be cool. I've been, like I said, when we first started talking about, that's something I've been looking for as well, and that's why I kept, was going to go back to like the Power Mapper, but.
Yeah, try this one out. You just got to know a little bit of how the setup works and how to color code it, and yeah, be more PC than Mac, and dive into it, and you'll get it.
Well, it'd be cool to actually do some site audits on this.
Yeah, it could actually provide some really cool, quick visualizations of the site, and get a better understanding how something is set up.
Okay. All right, Mike Cook, I think that really covers your needs and wishes. Let's move on to the next. This one from David Jones, a very interesting question on content and links within JavaScript tags. He said, I recently managed to get a brand mention for a client of mine within an article on Forbes.com. Later on, an SEO consultant told my client that the link from this article did not carry much weight due to a script on the page. The only thing I can think of is that she could be referring to is JavaScript. The page itself is indexed just fine in Google as well as Google News, and the link is followed, so I don't really see what the problem is. On closer inspection of the page source, I saw that the main block of text for the article is enclosed with, and of course, because he's used text, it stopped our presenter from presenting anymore. It looks like Siraj Gadagay has given us an answer, and without reading it yet, yeah, I was looking at this. I must. Anyway, I'll throw it open to you guys and have a look. Have a look myself. Yeah, I must thank Siraj Gadagay and Niraj Pandey and people like Tony McCreath, leading SEO from Adelaide in Australia. Um, and it seems as though, despite being encapsulated in a JavaScript envelope, that the link can be seen.
Yeah, so I haven't had a chance to dive into the script. I mean, it's Forbes, so I don't know how much Google values them lately, given all their ad blocking and not ad block, all the login setups that might be blocking Forbes. But from a JavaScript standpoint, there are a couple of things you have to keep in mind to determine whether or not the links are of value. One, you generally can, there are two quick ways to look at it. One is to inspect element, and if it's in kind of an outer HTML, then there's a good likelihood that Google can crawl it and value the link. The other way is doing kind of a waterfall optimization, viewing how the page actually loads. Where the DOM loads is roughly going to be about where generally Googlebot is going to pull the content from the page. And if it's before the DOM, then that's going to be crawlable and valuable. If it's after, then likely Google is not going to see it and not value it. So it just kind of depends on what point the content is being inserted into the page. Now, bear in mind, that's just Google. If you care about some of the stuff on Bing, then different story, might not do as well. But yeah, that's just a very two quick ways of looking at it. I haven't had a chance yet to dive into the actual scripts to fully see, but that should at least give you a view of how to understand if something within JavaScript is going to be potentially valued by Google.
Yeah. I had a long conversation with, maybe not long for David, but certainly long for me. Anyway, my view was to do a fetches Google for the particular page and have it rendered and see if it was pulled in.
But the only, see, he gave an example here. I don't know if there's actually, oh, here we are. Yeah, I mean, it looks like from a quick inspect element, it looks like it's there, but it also depends on the load of the page. But yeah, one of the things to keep in mind, though, of course, is that's at least tell you what they could potentially value. It doesn't necessarily mean that the link itself is as valued in the same way as a regular HTML. Nobody's really done any testing in a sufficient quality to say that they're valued in the same way, that how quickly that the content gets pushed is going to be valued as well in a similar way, so that it's faster and helps get your site valued faster. So there's a couple of qualifications of that, of saying, yeah, even if Google can see this and potentially value it, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the same as if it was an HTML link.
Yeah. All right. So I hope out of all that you got what you're looking for, David Jones, and thank you for your question. Here's our next, guys. This one is from Greg Christan. It's a question about sitemaps. Greg goes on to say, I know that sitemaps need to be an XML file, in XML file format to be properly crawled by the search engines. But this particular sitemap looks odd to me. I know that the base URL is in XML format, but the links below are just media links. Should I be concerned about this? My plan was to either consolidate all of the URLs into the main XML sitemap, or break out the sitemaps by categories, etc., since the current format is all over the place. What do you guys think? Does this sitemap with the links to the other sitemaps work, or will it not work due to it not being in an XML format? I see a large amount of URLs submitted, but not a lot have been indexed, and I think this could be one of the reasons why that is the case. Thanks. And again, one of our forum heroes, Siraj Gadagay, has jumped in and answered. Oh, you're off, Micah. Okay. Tim has a problem with his microphone, all right, feel free to jump in anytime, William, or I'll attempt to answer this one.
All right, sorry, I was actually putting some comments in the other question. All right, so we're talking about sitemaps. So is that the one we're on?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just pulling into this question. So let me repeat the question.
It's a long read, but it's number 5 on your run list, William.
I found it.
Look, I'll answer it, and you can follow up if you like.
Yep.
Look, Greg, I wouldn't sweat on sitemaps too much. They're an indicator that they're not a marriage for life between you and Googlebot. They're just an indicator for Google, and I wouldn't try breaking them out by categories. It's not going to make it any more usable for search engines crawling your site. If you've got less than 50,000 URLs, you can put them all into one sitemap. And don't worry about the order. You can put them in any old order. I wouldn't worry about any of the other indicators. You just want the URL, and let the Googlebot pick it up or not. I see Greg Christan has picked up also that there are a lot of issues like 404 pages, 301 redirects, 500 error codes. Look, that's something that you should be fixing up. It's no good putting a link in there that's a 301. Why would you do that? And 500 error codes. If the website is broken, fix the website, and then don't put the link in until you've actually fixed that section. Certainly 404 page. Why put in a link to a 404 page? So yes, that's the way I would approach it anyway. Only provide don't waste your crawl budget on 404s. Only put in good URLs into your sitemap. But don't worry about them put in any sort of order, because Googlebot will already figured out its own order, regardless of what you might do. All right. Anybody else?
No, I think you hit that one on the nail, or nail on the head. Awesome.
Hello, David Rosam.
Hello, Jim Monroe. I made it finally.
Cool, mate. Cool. I keep Matsutake pointed out to me that you guys are an hour different at the moment.
Yes, we are, and yes, you kind of I kind of got invited a bit later than usual, and that sort of crashed into all the client stuff that was going all mad around my brain at the time. But here I'm all calmed down and nice and cuddly and all those things.
Yep. All right.
And old before you say it.
What's that?
Especially old. I said and old before you say it.
Oh, well, I should have introduced you, shouldn't I? I said David is the oldest man in SEO. He's sort of our relic. Anyway, David can be found at writingforseo.org. He's been an SEO copywriter for at least a dozen years, and a copywriter for 30 odd. Yeah, okay. Tell me what you think of the next question, David.
If you look very closely, you'll see my quill pen.
You have a quill pen? I thought it was a slate.
No, I've moved on.
Okay. John Pitcher asks a question, multiple local business pages, it's titled. He said, a customer offers healthcare services from their home in town A, and also rents a room in 2 doctors' surgeries in town B and town C. Should they create 3 Google local business pages, 1 for each town, given that they just rent a room?
This is where Tim needs to have his mic working, because I think he'd have a better answer than I will. But I would say you still only have to have 1 business profile on Google Maps. If you have multiple, the same address, and then you're also going to be not servicing clients at your place of business. So it's going to be a radius, but you don't necessarily need to have 3 or 4 different ones for each town.
Yeah, what's slightly unclear to me is, offering healthcare services from their home. So the question is, where do the clients go, isn't it?
Is it working now?
Yes.
Yes.
Hooray.
Okay, so in this instance, look, you could have 3, but this is the big but and caveat within guidelines. Your town B and town C local business page must be for those hours that he is there. Okay, he can't have it Monday to Friday 9 till 5 if his original local business page is Monday to Friday 9 to 5. Town B, if he's only there on a Tuesday and a Friday for an hour, that is what he has to stipulate, because the basic criteria of a business page is that customers must be able to make in-person contact during the specified hours. Town B and Town C, if it's only an hour on a Monday and a Friday, then it's only your hours are only a, an hour. That is your kind of crucial thing. Two minds about whether 3 would be beneficial. Presence, and of course, if they were connected to the internal page for that specific thing. On the flip side of it is 99% of the time that thing is going to be showing closed. On the odd occasion when someone to it or search in that particular town on a Monday and he happened to act in that particular time of the that hour that you were there, it would say open. The rest of the time, if anybody ever searched, closed. So from that area, I would say in that instance, if those are only really limited hours, I would think you would be doing more harm because people are always going to see the place closed. The other thing is depending on how far Town B are from one another. And I would say that, let's say within about a 40-mile radius from your actual original location, you can still be appearing within the local pack for that particular service. For the actual, say, healthcare service. Now, I'm just, oh God, I don't know. What would be a healthcare? Okay, for example, my example is I'm in Corby. Now, Northampton, which is the largest city, which is 40 odd miles away. I think it's actually 42, but something like that. Essentially, obviously, for a search term like SEO, I don't appear in the local pack because, of course, there's a lot of companies there. But when you break it down to more niche specific items like services, Northampton, I appear in the local pack. When you break it down into more niche specific like service, Northampton, I'm appearing in the local pack. Things like that. So for that niche specific one point of thing, you won't necessarily appear. But if you, for more niche specific things, you will appear in the local pack. So you've got to weigh it up and think about how often will you be open in Town B and Town C. If it is literally a couple of hours a week, I would think it would back to you from people actually searching for this in town, being you're forever closed. From just a pure customer perception, I would draw a lot more effort into optimizing my singular, my main location, for those areas. So service area pages. So indeed, you may not necessarily create a local page, but you could certainly still create a page for Town B. Within Town B, service, like from whatever this rented office is, the location, the telephone number, the hours, that's on your website, not a local business page. You would obviously give a bit more detail you do in those town B and town C, because you may do everything in your main location, but you may only do your satellite locations. So kind of specify those ones. Do you have any just for those particular areas? List those on those service area pages. Of course, in terms of content on site, I would also build up more local content. So I would, look at town B, like look at content in terms of town B and say, provide, I don't know, some kind of holistic service, or I don't know, I do crutches, or I mean, healthcare is quite general. You could certainly have, list those specific things. You could create more type of content locally, on blogs and interlink to those internal pages. Your main location will be appearing in the local pack for town B and town C. Obviously not, as I said, niche specific for your, like what you would think is your main keyword, but for longer term, actual product specific, service, you would be appearing. And if you really, optimized it to hell and back over the next sort of year, you may even appear within the full pack. So it's a toss-up. Go back, look at your hours in town B and town C, and then think about would you negatively perceived or not. But of course, still, you need to obviously want to create local service pages for the town B and town C, and give some real in-depth on what you provided those two locations on page, and then of course build up your content over time on your news or your blog section to do with and see niche specific stuff.
All right, excellent, Tim, excellent. Anything else? Okay. Let's go. By the way, that was cool. I didn't get a handle on that until you said, but they should only put the hours down that they're physically at those rooms. That was enlightening. All right, John Pitcher has a question titled "Google penalizes businesses that are not based in the town." John said, I have a client who is based some miles away from the town they wish to rank for. They are a service industry where customers go to their premises. Their site is partway down page 1 for many search terms. Would it help or hinder their website's ranking if they put the address on the website, created a Google local business page and directly listing? All of these highlight that they are not based in the local town itself. From the endpoint customer's viewpoint, they offer a service that customers are happy to travel for. But Google sometimes penalizes businesses that are not based in the town, although maybe not quite so as much since the recent possum. Tim, I see that you answered this on the community. Well, thank you very much.
Also, I kind of also answered that in the previous question. Anyway, you can, you said a couple of miles away. You can rank your local page to like sort of 40 miles away. It's certainly possible. It's certainly possible. But then again, of course, if 2 miles away, I don't know what you're into. I don't know, you list wheelchair supplier or something. But if there's 20 wheelchair suppliers in that town, you know, even if you were, you're still going to have to work at, you know, optimizing and work on, you know, increasing your visibility in that area. If there's only 2 guys in there, well, then you've got, you know, if you optimize your site properly and correctly, then you've got a shot at taking yourself and positioning yourself back. That's not a problem, but you know, it needs to be worked at. So yes, you know, your footer should certainly, even from just your main, your footer should certainly contain your business details, and that should be, you know, marked up, you know, with structured data specific to your industry if one exists. If not, you can just use the default local business data. And then it also boils down to create content on a regular basis in and around niche specific to that particular town that you really want to focus on. And it will happen for you, you know, but without providing that content, without, you know, any search engine that you are, you know, that you are relevant to a search term within a town. You just need to provide the, you know, the proper content on site, and ongoing content as and when, of course, you know, it makes sense to. You know, you can convince any search engine. If you can get yourself for that particular product, you know, the organic positioning on page 1, ideally between position 1 and 5, then, you know, you should be looking at, depending obviously naturally on the local in-town competition, you should now be starting to look at being able to appear within the local pack, if, you know. But of course, if there's 50 guys in that town that do it, you're going to have an issue. But if you can get yourself organically onto page 1 for it, you know, which is going to take some time and effort, but you can do that. It's certainly possible.
I think quick question to add to that. You know, I think there's a lot of confusion with a couple articles going out recently about e-commerce sites not being able to capitalize on U.S. traffic or international traffic because they have a local page. And I put a link in the chat for you. I don't know if you've seen that.
Such a load of absolute rubbish.
Yeah.
You know, I've dealing with someone in the forum recently who's like, oh, we sell all over the United States, and but, you know, I don't want. I'm like, what are you on about, mate? Yeah, the most laughable thing is that, you know, if you're sort of a worldwide e-commerce site, you firstly, legally, you're required by law to stipulate your actual physical address if you accept any form of credit card. So Google knows where you are. By creating a business page, it's not even on your domain, but by creating a business page, Google knows where you are. It doesn't matter where you are. He knows where you are already. So why not brand it and capitalize from the branding that a business page provides you? You know, even apart from that, you know, people still want to know, they want to understand, trust who a business is. If that's appearing on the knowledge panel, on that, because you can have events appearing in there, you can have all your other social, you know, your other social channels appearing in your knowledge panel. It can provide also a lot of peace of mind to a business. If you, for example, if you're a really big company, and you've got a Wikipedia entry and things like this, it provides peace of mind. People can see your reviews. You know, it provides a lot of branding, and I just think people, I don't know where people got this crazy idea from in the last month. There's been lots of questions about it, and I'm thinking, well, some idiot somewhere must have written some, because Google knows where you are. It's like if you accept a credit card, you are leaving your physical address where the business operates from in your, even in your T's and C's. And out of that, Google knows where you are. If you're, you are required to have a business registration address on. Google knows where you are. Doesn't matter about having a business page. Why not just capitalize on it for the branding it provides? So some muppet out there wrote some stupid article, and it's, yeah.
Well, and that's the crazy part is if I sell a widget, and I sell a widget all the way across the world, if I rank for that widget, right, like you mentioned, Google already knows my location, so I'm going to be able to get a little bit more traffic anyway, but I also get the brand.
All right. For example, I'm on a it may as well be .co. I've set my country targeting for my business page that's all over my site. Content, well, a lot of my content is locally niche related, especially if I'm talking about a particular issue for London or Northampton or whatever. Tons of it is gone. My freaking visibility and traffic is US, because they just happen to be more in tune in terms of local SEO, etc. So if all of this was my location, well then why the hell am I appearing number 1 and 2 for all sorts of different things? It's not based upon your location. If you provide the best freaking in the world, and you are based in some little town in America, you are still going to appear all over the world, because Google believes that you provide the better quality information. People all around the world, from different places, have reviewed your stuff about it. You've built up a brand, a reputation. Your business is known for being the best freaking wheelchair maker in the world, and you might be down in freaking Venezuela, but you still appear number 1 for wheelchair manufacturers in the US or in Russia or in flipping wherever, because Google knows that if handmade wheelchair, these are the guys. So forget it. I don't know where this weirdness came from. Are still based somewhere. You can still have a local address. You can still ship worldwide. You can still, it's. In fact, for an e-commerce site, I would actually e-commerce sites to look at additional local possibilities. If you are, for example, I don't know, based in New York, and that's where your head, and that's where you ship from, package and ship, but you distribute all the way across the US. I would be listing on my site, like if, for example, stock my stuff, I would be listing every state and county that listed, that my product, my watch, or I would be listing those all. I would be obviously you can't have a business page for them, but I would certainly be putting the embedded the map link. I would certainly be embedding that. I'd be creating pages like left, right, and flaming center for these. If I was, sort of if I, obviously you weren't, stockists, if I had specific click and collect customers in particular areas. So UPS, I don't know if you know, Jim, but we can see all of that.
Sorry, I just had to check my mail.
yeah, I was just saying you probably don't want to be showing that live. So, you know, if I offer click and collect, like let's say I have 3 different choices of delivery, whether they want to pick UPS or FedEx or whatever. If I offer those, where are their choices of click and collect in their particular area closest? You know, there's tons of way that I would be even going out of my way to find localized signals relevant to my business that I could include on my global site, because I know that I'm going to have a chance of appearing locally for when a local person searches for that particular product that I'm pitching. Anyway, my rant's over now.
Excellent. End of rant. And I think that covers this question for John Pitcher. And good to hear from you again, John. Let's move on to the next. And it's from Edisham Shaikh, who's asked a number of questions of us. He said, "Hi all, I want to create a Wikipedia page for one of my clients. Please let me know what are the things I should consider so that they do not remove my page. Things like, do I need to register with company email like contact@domain.com, fresh content, etc. Thanks, ET." I'd just like to say, Sam, you're probably in for a world of hurt, but if you keep fighting, you'll eventually get there. It's like the old... You go on, Tim.
So my first piece of advice would be, look, what the particular client is, right? My first thing would be is to look at clients or businesses within that similar genre, okay? And look within that genre and see who the editors are, because it's like, you thought Scientology was like the wackiest freaking group on the planet. These, man, they are like the nuttiest group of people. Now I shouldn't be saying this because they're probably going to be like, now they're probably going to be searching through every freaking edit I ever made. But they are editing crazies. So depending on who the editor is, depending if you went and created that, you could have like a really protective, fierce little editor in that particular category, and they will just, never let it through, ever. I mean, I've had one particular business which the business appears globally, it's well known, it's like one of the top 10 in the world in terms of luxury resort, and this refuses and just removes and won't publish it. So the first bit is just try and suss out what these people are like. You might have some great ones, and reach out to them, to your live, put it in the sandbox, ask them to come and look at it, and then engage what they're like. Okay, they will lend some advice and they will publish it, right? They'll lend you some advice, you can edit it, you can collaborate and get it all right. That's on that flip side of the scenario is you can get complete psychos who will just never, ever, ever. And in that instance, I would just get a few sites out there where wiki editors basically will help you get your stuff published. And in fact, don't get it written, you've got to pay a fee, obviously, and they'll publish it for you. And there's quite a few of those sites out there that exist. So if you are publishing nightmares, I would just go down the road and pay for it, which you pass that cost on to the client. If they want it, then they're going to have to pay for it. So is suss the editors out, get it in there, ask them to get involved, collaborate. You'll get a feel for them very quickly if they are going to allow it or not. If they're not, forget it. Just go and pay a wiki editor to do it for you.
Yeah, I think that sums up the state of play very well. All right, let me tweet that. Oh, I've done that. Okay, let's go to the next. This one from, wow, Alan Blue Ice is posting. Wow. It's titled Mobile Indexes Algorithmic Process. Alan said, I just posted this to my personal timeline, posting it here to the group because I'm not connected with everybody in the group, and I believe it's important that we all consider this. He said, here's the scenario: a desktop site with 500k inbound links from 3,500 domains, a mobile site with 0 inbound links and 0 domains. The mobile index goes live. Will the mobile site tank, or will it do just fine? If the mobile site does just fine, then how is it a separate mobile index? And what else is not properly migrated into the mobile index's algorithmic processes?
Well, that's a lot. So I'm reading through that, and kind of what I'm getting out of this, more of a question on, is it going to change? Or, I mean, when you add the links into that, it kind of gets confusing. But I think that if we separate the two algorithm elements, you've got your mobile, you've got your desktop, we already know exactly what's all for desktop. What a lot of people need to go back to is what discussions were happening way back with Mobilegeddon. I know I hate to use that word, but at the same time, there was a lot of good information being spread as far as speed, security, user experience on mobile devices. So when you start to take a lot of those aspects into play, you've seen the tradition of each algorithm update coming out, and or not just them coming out, but it's more of the discussion of like AMP pages, which supplement certain elements. But just a simple mobile aspect to this would be, take a look at your site on mobile, look at the tools that Google's given us, and then also kind of make that determination of, okay, am I going to climb or am I going to fall on each one of those indexes? And then, I don't know, I think, you've got to separate both. The desktop, we've already seen, Kate, we don't have to worry about other than monitor size. With the mobile, you have a lot more at play, and that goes right back into screen size. Some of the screens are itty bitty, some of them are like a big old book. So depending on how responsive your site could be, could probably play in how your site's favored in that algorithm once it's completely separated. We've seen a lot of that already going on, even though they haven't said it's completely separate, right?
Yeah. Any other comments?
I think I just, going back to the whole thing, I mean, I said a whole lot of stuff at once, but I think going back to the whole user experience is, I think, going to be key to this mobile.
I put a sort of an answer, or not an answer, but my 2 cents worth for Alan on Facebook. I said that we did have an instance of a mobile site which was withdrawn, and it was within the last 15 or 18 months. The client, for some determination to destroy or some commitment to fail, decided to dump the mobile site. And the one characteristic that I noticed in this site is by using SEMrush, I could see that the mobile site and the main site, and the mobile site did have 0 incoming links. There was no attempt to gain the index. But the mobile site of its own volition rapidly developed a set of keywords that, even though the mobile site and the main site both were pulled from exactly the same database, there was absolutely no difference in text in either version. But the M.dot site developed its own unique set of keywords, and also rapidly, pulled a lot of traffic. This is well, I can say that it was for a site which was a parking site for a parking site at an airport, where clients would log on and book their car in and be confirmed and so on, and find out their prices and so on. Very busy site. Well, in a general scheme of things, it would be called a small to medium site. But yes, it was really interesting. But what it was also interesting was that when the SSL certificate expired and it went off the air, it was taken off the air, because not much good having an SSL site with an expired certificate. It's going to really upset clients. But anyway, when the certificate expired, it was shut down. The traffic, by the way, the traffic was pretty good on the mobile site almost immediately. And I wonder whether that might be because people travelling by air are likely to be using a mobile when they're checking something, like might be when their car's booked in to be picked up, or whether they need a valet clean or not. So that might be it. But anyway, the mobile site rapidly had very good traffic, and the actual www site increased in traffic. But when the mobile site was shut down, of course, that traffic just went up and evaporated. The main site lost about 10% of its traffic straight away, immediately. So, all I can say to that client is good job, mate. Good job. Anyway, that will do us, I think, on this. We weren't.
I can add one more. Can I just add one more piece to that, Jim?
Yeah, sure.
I would probably say, when you're looking, because you were talking about, a difference in traffic from, mobile versus the desktop. I would also go back in your analytics and take a look at what traffic's coming in. Most of it's probably going to be coming from your desktop, but you can start to dig down deeper into the phone types that are actually coming to your website and what they're doing. So just like you have a visitor flow model within analytics, you can start to see a visual model of where they went in your website on mobile and see where those bounces are. Are they getting to the content and are they leaving immediately, or are they going and consuming the content just like they do on desktop? And if you have a mixed bag of that, then you can go back and start to test your responsive design and see, well, maybe we have a responsive design on our website for mobile, or we have a mobile specific, URL subdomain, but then go back and test it. See what that mobile experience looks like. Going back to that visitor experience, are they going through your process? Are they going to buy something from you and convert from that website versus just a desktop or mobile? And you can see that in your analytics pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thanks, William. Let's move on from this one. Did I tweet that? No, I didn't. That was lucky. All right. Erin McKay, did you? Everybody's with us tonight. The key. This question is titled "Keyword Planner is not giving accurate data." Erin McKay said, "Okay, people, Google's keyword planner is not giving accurate data, even when we place the phrase in the review plan option, as per explained in this blog post that my friend Mel shared with me a while ago." There is a link which can be seen on the SEO Questions community on Google+, to search.get-old-Google keyword planner. Actually, we can't see all of it, but hopefully you'll be able to go to the SEO Questions community on Google Plus and click that link. Aaron said that the numbers. Yeah, go on, Tim.
Yeah, it's not accurate at all. Even the old one, I would say, was not accurate. If you go and okay, well, I suppose if you're looking at keyword planner, you can go and take out of your search console, and you can see what your on that, and then you can go into keyword planner and chuck in the same thing and get two different things. And then you can go into analytics and pull out that particular, if that particular phrase is in your keywords there, and get another totally different set of info. So you might be like getting 200 visits a month from that, and keyword planners telling you that there's like less than 20 or like 50. And you might be seeing 5,000 impressions for that. It's laughable. I would take keyword planner as kind of a base, and then adjust things once you've either got a page, that's doing something organically. Or if they have got something already, some data on it already, then you need to sort of mash them up together in that sense. In fact, I saw there was I'll try and dig out the article. I think a week actually, where someone was, I think it was something like myths or something like this, where they actually, go into quite a lot of detail, and then how they use the 3 different bits from keyword planner, search console, and analytics, if it's provided, to give them a kind of a better, more accurate sort of understanding.
Yeah.
But Google provides, take it with a pinch of salt.
Especially the numbers.
Work backwards.
Yeah, the numbers are right. And what I normally do is I'll use a mixed bag of tools. I'll use Keyword Planner. I'll also go over to Search Console. And then I'll also go to SEMrush and pull those, and then I'll put them into a spreadsheet and then start to sort that. But I'm not looking at the numbers. I'm looking at the variations in words that are being used, and kind of, you know, looking at what the average. If I don't know an industry, I can quickly identify and learn the industry by just looking at their keyword sources.
Funny thing is I tend to use keyword planning clients, bring them down to a more level-headed expectation. And then
I think there's another problem here with people who say, oh, when I looked at keyword, as Erin seems to be doing here, when I looked at Keyword Planner in January, it said for Green Wellington boots 100 searches, but now in July it's 5,000. Well, actually that's a really bad thing. It'd be the other way around. But you know, the point is there are all sorts of variations that happen naturally, whether the figures are correct or not. So you know, you need to look at seasonality. You need to look at, you know, you need to accept that the graph of the number of searches isn't horizontal from January to December. You know, worry, you know, if you are going to worry about it, you know, at least worry in the same time period. But yeah, it's. I think you've got to, particularly when you get to low numbers, you know, 100 searches per month, or is it 5? How good or accurate is that likely to be without Google putting whatever obfuscation it's putting on the figures this month? So yeah, look at, you know, think about trends. You know, it might be that that something's gone down just because it's old technology. You know, we're not getting so many searches on iPhone 4 this year as we are iPhone 6 and 7. So, you know, think about the numbers. Don't just look at them as numbers. Put them into context. And think that something that's getting 5,000 searches is probably, and is a good fit, is probably a better bet for you than something that's getting 150 searches. But don't rely on 5,150 being accurate.
Yeah, and perhaps a little bit better than your Wellington boot analogy, David, might be that more people search for Halloween October, early November than any other month of the year.
Yeah, I was just getting a bit Australianed out there with my months for the Green Wellingtons.
Yeah, well, see, we don't use Wellingtons here in Australia because we have the rain set up so that it only rains at night, so that we hear the tinkle on the roof, and it doesn't bother us during the daytime. We can still mow the grass.
So posh people like you don't have Green Wellies?
No, I don't have a pair of wellies. No. Yeah. I'd just like to point out that this question, I mean, what a great move it was moving over to Facebook. Is a question asked by the inimitable Erin Mackay, answered by Bill Slawski. If you don't know Bill Slawski, he is, as he says in his own words, I mostly do client audits rather than keyword research for most clients, like Alan. And he also is something of a patent expert. As he says, he doesn't have any qualifications, but he's fascinated by patents and monitors them exhaustively. And of course, Alan Blue Ice is a high-end website auditor, mainly deals in larger sites, 1 million pages and more. So I just have to say that when we started off doing dumb SEO questions, and of course, dumb SEO questions started because of an absolutely random conversation between myself and Dan Petrovic on one of his hangouts. Never ever thought that it would ever come to this, a meeting of all these fine and brilliant minds, and Tim Capper as well. All right, let's. I think I've tweeted that. Let me try it just to be sure. No, I haven't. Oh God, the worst part about getting old.
Pay attention. Pay attention, Jim.
Yeah. This one was solved via Twitter. John Mueller responded to Micah on Twitter. And Micah, oh, well, I'll read it out anyway, and if anyone wants to add anything to it. He said, a hreflang question. Micah Fisher-Kirshner asked, is ES-419 a valid code to use for Latin American Spanish? I'm unaware of this being valid, but thought to check here. W3 Schools knows is as valid for them. I've just never seen anyone talk about it before. And Micah was responded to on Twitter with the right information. Anyone want to add anything to that before we move on? All right, let's move on. Well, we've done it again, guys. We've answered all of the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google+, and also asked on our page on Facebook, Dumb SEO Questions, and also on Twitter, Dumb SEO QS. Here, we now move on to our news roundup. I think our news is comprised of one item this week. Feel free to add your items to the SEO news community on Google+, and we will look at it and give our stamp of approval or otherwise. And this one I stumbled across today. It was posted today by Octos Digital Marketing, and it pointed out for the first time that mobile and tablet devices accounted for 51.3% of internet usage worldwide in October, compared to 48.7% by desktop. Now, I have to point out, this is a bit misleading. That data is skewed because the usage in India is about 85% mobile, and it could be that in countries where the GDP is not high, that a $200 phone compared to an $800 desktop is more likely to be the phone is more likely to be the means of accessing the internet. But I mean, certainly the trends are there, and if you access this article, which can be clicked on from the SEO News community on Google+,